Welcome everybody, we might make a start. Welcome to you all this afternoon. Many of our meetings are unpredictable and this is no different. I will announce that if we encounter technical issues by anyone here tonight during this meeting, it's all okay and it won't stress anyone here. We have great technical support and whilst these issues are being resolved, we will adjourn the meeting until they are resolved. If the issues can't be resolved, we will postpone the meeting and set another date and time. So welcome councillors. I see Mr. Schneider, our directors and officers. And most importantly, our viewers at home, our community members. Welcome to you all. Item number 1 is our opening prayer and original custodian statement, which we will remain seated for. Almighty God, grant to this council wisdom, understanding and sincerity of purpose for the good governance of this city. Amen. And the original custodian statement. I wish to acknowledge the official owners of the land on which we stand and pay my respects to the elders past and present. Item number 2, apologies, of which we have none. Item number 3, confirmation of minutes. The minutes of the ordinary meeting of the council held on March 2, 2020, minutes of the special meetings of council held on March 16, 2020 and April 8, 2020 be confirmed. The mover for those minutes, Councillor Neo, moves those minutes.
Second.
Councillor Anderson, second for the minutes. Any questions from any councillor? I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Psychopoulos, Councillor Gaston, Councillor Anderson, Councillor Herbert, Councillor Neo, Councillor Owen, Councillor Cassidy, unanimous vote. Item number 4, declaration by councillors and officers of any conflict of interest in any item on the agenda. We have none. Thank you. Item number 5, the reports. Item 5.1, consideration of councillor appointment to various advisory committees. Mr. Schneider.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Following the resignation of former councillor Peter Hume, council in February 2020, 4 vacancies have arisen on committees which require councillors to be appointed. The positions that need to be filled are on the Chief Executive Employment Capacity, Visitor Economy Advisory Committee, Municipal Fire Prevention Committee, and Bicycle Users Reference Group.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Councillors have the recommendation there. Can I have someone to move that recommendation, please? Councillor Gaston. Someone to second that recommendation? Councillor Owen. Any questions? Councillor Gaston.
Thank you, Mayor. The advisory committees of council are quite varied in their functions and scopes. Some have important statutory responsibilities, such as the Chief Executive Employment Matters Committee, and others help us to drive policy with community members, such as the Visitor Economy Advisory Committee. I'm sure both Councillor Owen and Councillor Psychopoulos will be excellent reps on these committees as we come to the end of this council term. And I think it's also been really handy that Councillor Psychopoulos already understands the roles of these committees with past experience, and it's been helpful that he's been able to get up to speed very quickly. I'd like to endorse the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Gaston. Councillor Owen. Yes, I would like to. If any other councillor wish to speak? Yeah, I would like to endorse Councillor Gaston's very positive comments about Councillor Psychopoulos. You've come in as an experienced individual and you've approached your role with an enormous amount of positivity and great respect. So I do appreciate the way you have taken that role on. And with Councillor Gaston, endorse you on those committees.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Gaston?
No, that should be fine, thank you.
Those in favour of the motion? Carried unanimously. Councillor Psychopoulos, Councillor Gaston, Councillor Anderson, Councillor Herbert, Councillor Neo, Councillor Owen and Councillor Cassidy, the unanimous decision. Councillors, item 5.2, the March financial report. Mr. Schneider.
Mr. Mayor, the finance report compares actual financial results of the budget 9 months from 1st July 2019 to 31st March 2020. The report sets out financial results of council's current day-to-day operations, projects, capital works, rates and loan activities. Year-to-date budgets are profiled to reflect the timing of cash inflows and outflows. Overall, the 9-month actual results indicate a favourable financial position of $677,000 compared to the year-to-date budget. The enterprise agreement, however, has recently been approved through Fair Work, and council is working to calculate the back pays of approximately $450,000. Council is reviewing the forecast budget due to the business interruptions caused by COVID-19. The impact of these restrictions is beginning to show in the March financial results, where previous gains in Flagstaff Hill and Lighthouse Theatre have been negated. Aquazone has seen a further deterioration of its position, with the centre now closed.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. I have a recommendation there, councillors. Can I have someone to move that recommendation, please? Councillor Cassidy, thank you. Can I have another councillor to second that motion? Councillor Neo. Thank you. Any questions, any points of clarification? Councillor Cassidy, thank you.
So everything is still looking okay in March with the cash hire due to government grants coming earlier. Sale yards were very strong for the month, which I think this will continue through April with the sale yards being able to still have sales with the first stock live stream being done at the end of April. They were pleasantly surprised and well up on the expectations. There were 325 live viewings, 41 registered bidders. I look forward to April's financial report on revenue. I'd also like to thank Paul White for getting this going in a noticeably short time. I know it's very much appreciated by all. It will be a different story for April with caravan parks, Flagstaff Hill, Lighthouse Theatre and Aquazone closed, and the unknown of when they will return. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Neo.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to endorse what Councillor Cassidy said. I think the figures are very positive. And on page 15 of our agenda, there's several grants that we've received that are hundreds of $1,000s. So it's great to see the officers have been successful, whether it's roads, whether it's sporting facilities, that we've been able to get in grants as part of those variations. So well done.
Thanks, Councillor Nair. Any other councillor wish to speak, wish to comment on that report? Councillor Owen.
Yeah, I'd like to endorse what both our councillors have said. Paul White has done an amazing job in the last month, doing exceptional job out at the sale yards, and the grants is also quite a windfall for us. It will be interesting to see the full impact of this virus next quarter. I'm sure we're going to take quite a hit, particularly with, as Councillor Cassidy said, and the caravan parks and the lighthouse all being closed. Anyway, let's see how we go in Aqua Zone, of course. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Owen. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Cassidy, would you like to close?
No, that's
Okay. Thank you. I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Psychopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Neo, Owen, Cassidy, unanimous vote. Thank you. Item 5.3, the activities and initiatives 2019-2020, January to March. It's the third quarter. Thanks, Mr. Schneider.
Mr Mayor, this report provides information on progress in achieving activities and initiatives set down for 2019-20 as part of the council plan and budget process. The report provides council and the community with an update on the progress of actions across council's functional areas. Whilst the report reflects accurately the circumstances of the period reviewed, it doesn't really adequately reflect the change occurred in the intervening period due to the coronavirus pandemic. Officers will be seeking to implement an influence tabled in June, which reflects the changing impacts of many of the actions and initiatives are detailed in the report. The activities and initiatives underpin activities council undertakes under vision across the city by the sea. 5 key objectives that underpin this vision are sustain, enhance and protect the natural environment, foster a healthy, welcoming city that is socially and culturally rich, maintain and improve the physical places and visual appeal of the city, develop a smarter economy, diverse and sustainable employment, and practice good governance through openness and accountability while balancing aspirations with sound financial management. The work undertaken daily by the council towards the fulfilment of these objectives remains a paramount of council's efforts to support the community now and future free of the pandemic.
Thanks, Mr. Schneider. Councillors, do I have someone to move that recommendation, please? Councillor Gaston. Someone to second that motion? Councillor Cassidy. Do I have any questions, any points of clarification? Thanks, Councillor Gaston.
Thank you, Mayor. This report, I think, always shows the scope of what council achieves across our community, and is a really good check-in point for us as councillors each quarter. I just wanted to pull out a couple of initiatives that I wanted to highlight. One is page 6, 2.2.3, that children with the highest needs within the community identified and offer support through their early years continuum. I'm not sure everyone's aware that those kind of programs are taking place across the community, and we have really dedicated staff that are helping children and families get on the right track and giving them support that they may need. So I think it's something they're not always aware of, but I really endorse strongly as a wonderful initiative for our community members. The other item is one that has had a change due to COVID-19. On page 12, item 2.5.2, deliver youth leadership programs that a range of young people can access. And I just wanted to highlight that the leaders in the Youth Council have been working really hard on the Youth Awards this year.
Councillor Gaston, can I just interrupt you? What page are you on, if you don't mind, please?
Page 12 of the report. And it's down the bottom. They've been working very hard to bring up the Youth Awards, Warrnambool and Moyne, and obviously that had to be put aside due to COVID, the actual event at the Lighthouse Theatre. However, they've gone ahead and put the work into judging based on values is the criteria they've used. Almost 100 nominations were received, which highlighted the extraordinarily high contribution young people make to our communities across the region. And we're going to go ahead and celebrate them via an online event, which will be live streamed this Friday, the 8th of May at 7 p.m. So in these times, it'd be great if people want to tune in like they are tonight. And I believe everyone in the community is invited. Happy to enjoy some recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Gaston. Councillor Cassidy.
Yeah, thank you. Myself actually enjoy this report every time it comes out. You don't realise as a councillor what is happening behind the scenes, so it's a great way of actually seeing what is happening. I'll just point out a couple that I actually find quite interesting, which is 1.2.1, which is the energy lighting replacement program. It's still going forward, and we'll be looking at the budget to see how much can actually be done this year. 2.2.2, which is one that I go on about a fair bit, the immunisation facility at 10% and on hold. But I have been told this is as far as it can go now until there's an allocation put into the budget. So fingers crossed, because it has been one that has been in there for a while. 3.1.2, which is enhance the safety of the promenade through the improvement of sightlines. So at the present, we have a planning permit is in place for the trimming of vegetation by a third of the particular section of the promenade. In the future, planning permits conditions with the support and advice of GLUC and native vegetation precinct plan is presently in progress, which will direct the long-term management of native vegetation land within the coastal reserve. So let's hope we will be able to see the beach again soon by our cars, which would be quite nice. 4.4.4, Smarter Cities, that will help council share services program and looking at a regional approach to data sharing. And lastly, 5.2.12, and this is the IT system for staff working home, and it's a great effort by council IT staff to get this up and running in such a short time, and I'd like to say well done to all of them. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mayor. I've just picked out a couple here that have come to my attention. 2.1.6 on page 23, ensure premises operating under the Food Act and Public Health Act are inspected before renewal of registration is granted, so it's a positive. 2.2.4 on page 24, maintain and enhance child immunisation rates from 95% average. Immunisation rates so far this year have exceeded the 95% for the year. The other one was 2.3.7, page 27, establish and deliver neighbourhood house program in Wastewater community, and that's a range of programs for children and families. And the last one is 2.4.3, page 29, implement of the Maribor Recreation Reserve irrigation, electrical upgrades and lighting improvement project, and that project has been completed. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Owen.
You've got to get in quick, don't you? I'm going to have to find a couple of others. I'm amazed how quickly the quarter goes, and I'm not sure, and hats off to our officers who are trying to deal with this, with changes going on in this particular time. It can't be easy to fulfill some of these tasks that are ongoing. I have to endorse the glass bin trial, item 1.14, and I'd like to know how it's getting on. I'm sure we'll get a report on that shortly. And the lighting is a very good program, 1.2.1. Looking forward to that finally being up and running. That will save us quite a fair bit of money, and it'll be a great outcome. Disappointing to see 1.41 because of the coronavirus. The discussions have come to a bit of a standstill, investigating the opportunities for waste to energy to reduce the reliance on landfill. I think that's something that we probably really need to keep pursuing if we can. There are others there, but by the time I finish, I think the next quarter will be up. So thank you.
Thanks, councillor Owen. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Anderson, you've got one more.
One more, I think it's an important one, upgrade of public amenities building. And the design contract has been awarded and preliminary designs options presently being prepared for McGinnon's toilet block. So I think people in Mournable who know that down on Lake Potobe, that's used by Dates Up, so things are moving in that direction.
Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, it really is an amazing report because it gives us such a great indication of the detail and the operations that are going on. We all know the council do operate at that more strategic level, but I encourage all members of the community that have got a strong interest in council to look at this report because it really does give you an indication of the detail and the level of work that's going on in the city for the community. Councillor Gaston, would you like to close?
Yes, thanks, Neil. As Councillor Owen indicated, these A&Rs do show ongoing progress. I think it's going to be really important for us to watch these indicators closely, particularly in the next quarter, as we manoeuvre our way through this pandemic. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Gaston. Councillors, I put the motion to the vote. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Sarkopoulos, Councillor Gaston, Councillor Anderson, Herbert, Neo, Owen and Cassidy all voting in favour unanimously. Thank you. Item 5.4, Council Plan 2017 to 2021, 2020 revised edition. Thanks, Mr. Schneider.
Mr. Mayor, the council plan is the feature document in council's suite of strategic planning documents formulated to guide the work of council over the next 4 years. Over recent months, council has reviewed the council plan 2017 to 2021. The council plan retains council's vision for Warrnambool to be a cosmopolitan city by the sea, which references our beautiful and unique location and proclaims that the city is striving to be more welcoming and inclusive. Council will also continue the theme of the council plan, growing pride and confidence in the city, which emphasises the need to celebrate and promote our city, its attributes, and its appeal to those in the region and beyond. The view of the city emerging from the current crisis is an important factor to keep in mind when dealing with challenges. The key objectives of the plan are unchanged and remain: sustain, enhance, and protect the natural environment, foster a healthy, welcoming city that is socially and culturally rich, maintain and improve physical spaces and visual appeal of the city, develop a smarter economy with diverse and sustainable employment, and practice good governance through openness and accountability while balancing aspirations with sound financial management. The draft revision of the council plan lists key activities and initiatives council will undertake over the 2021 period to deliver on the 5 objectives described. The plan will be made available for public comment until the 3rd of June 2020.
Thanks, Mr. Schneider. Councillor, do I have a councillor to move that recommendation? It's Councillor Owen. A councillor to second that. Councillor Gaston. Councillor Gaston, any questions? Any points of clarification? Councillor Sarkopoulos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a more of a logistical question, and it refers to submissions being heard by any member of the public who requests to be heard. That will be on the 15th of June. Just wondering how we're going to physically manage that under the current environment. So, I mean, it's quite squashy in here now. How do we cope with that?
Thanks, Councillor Sarkopoulos. Good question. Mr. Yutri?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. What we're intending to do is write to the submitters and actually organise times that they can log in via Zoom and put forward their submissions over video.
So they won't physically be here in the room?
Correct.
Electronic. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Sarkopoulos, happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the councillor? Councillor Owen.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like the public, when viewing this, to consider this council plan very seriously in light of this pandemic. to consider the fact that we are more than ever have to adhere to our 2040 plan and green plan. The cost of our environment and health and well-being of our community when viewing it. Because of the coronavirus, we have learnt lessons not only about the environment, but ourselves. One important lesson is we should be willing to trade some of our freedoms for the greater good of the community. Learn to appreciate the importance of our environment, take in the beauty of where we live. Learn how to be content to be alone and with a family. We don't have to rush around, get on a plane for a holiday and just do a country. Globalisation will never be the same. This pandemic has done its damage to the supply chains as we know it and tourism. I beg your pardon. We have worked out how to work it from home using technology, which in turn has reduced the traffic congestion and carbon emissions. Perhaps we will have to rethink the design of our new library and read over in light of this pandemic. I know that this council plan should reflect a new order. It won't be business as usual, as we know. This pandemic is only a dress rehearsal, I believe, for what is to come, because climate change is going to be far more severe. Let's hope this council is better prepared to meet the challenges ahead. So I ask people, when reading it, take those things on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Councillor Gaston.
Thank you, Mayor. But our plan for our city, which is updated annually, has, I think, given us a very strong framework for the past 2 years. And updating this year will also help set the starting framework for the next council. And as Councillor Owen well articulated then, we are in a new normal. And I think feedback in terms of going forward will be appreciated from the community in that respect as well. And it's certainly something for us to consider. It does seem a long time ago since we sat together as a new council and workshopped what was to be our vision to guide us over the council term. And I have found our vision to be a cosmopolitan city by the sea has encouraged us to be open and expressive about welcoming people and investment into our beautiful city, as well as forming policies to sustain and protect our wonderful natural resources. I very much welcome further community input, and it is highly valued. I'm pleased to hear that we do have a plan to hear submissions and very much encourage community members to come forward with them. I think the fact that we are able to have that kind of input has helped us to be acknowledged as Australia's most livable regional city.
Thank you, Councillor Gaston. Any other councillor wish to comment? Councillor Anderson.
Yeah, just a couple of issues with the plan, and it says the action and initiatives outlined in the plan respond to the current COVID-19 variant and and to the ongoing reduction in services outcomes projected in some areas of council, and also the action and incentives outlined in the plan also seek to focus on recovery and the stimulus efforts of the council for the community on easing of the pandemic restrictions.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Cassidy.
Thanks. If there can be a positive to come from COVID-19, that is the amount of people exercising around our city. The thing is, it's not just our city, it's all over the world. I've been reading on so many social media outlets about what other cities are doing and now that the community are getting out of their cars. COVID-19 has changed cities, and I wonder, will they ever be the same? Some examples of what cities are doing are less car spots, wider walking paths, wider bike paths. There are less people in the cities. People are working remote. Will that change? Planners need to start planning different. These are all the things we need to think about and implement into our council plan. Our 2040 plan does outline these ideas, but we need to be thinking of them sooner. We need to be looking at our infrastructure to see what we can change like the rest of the world. The world is looking different. Even after a short time, we can see mountains clearer, waterways are clear in so many countries. we must too be looking this way. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Neo.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to support what my fellow councillors have said. Certainly, this coming year is going to be one of challenges for many. People are doing very hard, but a lot of the factors are external, and I think this plan highlights that number one, we have a plan. It is forward thinking, and when you look at some of the themes, they're going to be really important in the year to come. The plan mentions our support for Deakin and TAFE, and I think our support for Deakin and our advocacy for Deakin will be critical in the year to come. It also mentions fiscal places, and as Councillor Cassidy has said, we're seeing a lot more people involved with active recreation at the expense of structured sport, but active recreation is really booming at the moment, and our investment through our small infrastructure fund and our CBD parking fund for cars has been really critical to provide opportunities. We also talk about smart economy, and I think we've seen in the past 3 months innovation, nimbleness of businesses, and I think that will be the norm. I think the learnings and the opportunities that have come out of this difficult period will become the norm. People developing new business models that they hadn't thought of before. And I think that they're the opportunities that we can support through our economic development. The other key word in the plan is resilience. And I think we're very fortunate that our community does take a positive approach to everything. We have great services, community services, non-profit services that support our community, including council. So as a community, I think the word resilience is really important, especially in the lead up to the next 12 months, not only for community support, but also for business support. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Leo. Any other councillor wish to speak? Yeah, our council plan that we worked on after our election in November 2016 was a document with a big vision. Many of the initiatives are about livability, with an ambitious focus on Warrnambool being the most livable city in regional Australia. And at the time the plan was devised, I thought it was probably just that, a vision. It's now a reality. Warrnambool is not only the most livable city in regional Australia, but it is the most livable city in the entire country. And livability is just not economic, it's about our lifestyles, it's about education, it's about our environment, it's about our health, and it's about our connections. This accolade just doesn't happen in 12 months, and indeed, I don't believe it even happens in a 5 or 10 year period. This is cumulative work of successive councils, accompanied with a strong and resilient community that we are merely building on what has come before us. I have to say that within our community, all being a more negative element, that this accolade, some people believe, is shallow and without merit. These people in our community don't believe Warrnambool is worthy of this accolade. This negative element is sometimes very hard to satisfy. I say to them, being involved in regional cities Victoria and also regional capitals Australia, I can tell you that every city in Victoria and indeed Australia will be absolutely over the moon with an accolade such as this. I believe it is with this accolade that we will emerge on the other side of this pandemic stronger, more connected, better positioned for recovery and stimulus that many other towns and cities across our nation may not be. We have already seen that many national search engines naming Warrnambool as the most searched destination for property in regional Australia. But we have to be positive. We must work together. We must support each other, whether it be in council or the private sector. We all have our role to play. This council plan was revised months ago, and we've seen Warrnambool riding on the crest of an economic wave. This plan now has a slightly different focus on recovery and stimulus as we emerge out of the restrictions and try to get our community firing again. Impacts of the pandemic will be with us for some time. This revised plan still remains focused on the big vision. We are still striving to be that welcoming cosmopolitan city by the sea, and by working together and supporting each other, we will still grow pride and confidence in our city that will be celebrated by our residents and those beyond our boundaries. The challenges are considerable, but with strong foundations, a positive and energetic community, accompanied with a strong council plan, we will recover and thrive once more. Councillor Owen, would you like to close?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Good, strong words. I think you hit the nail on the head. We need, and Councillor Neo, resilience is very important. I think we are building more and more of that now. We are not taking things for granted. Our press needs to get more positive, to support council, put out positive stories instead of indulging the rantings of temperamental ex-councillors and whatever else they do. So we need strong leadership from the press too. People don't want bad stories at the moment. They need good stories. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Put the motion to the vote. I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Psychopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Councillor Herbert, Councillor Neo, Councillor Owen, Councillor Cassidy, all voting in favour. Councillor Owen, Councillor Cassidy, all voting in favour. Item 5.5, Local City Council proposed budget 2020 to 2021. Thank you, Mr. Schneider.
Mr Mayor, the 2020-2021 budget is informed by the vision and objectives of the council plan as council continues to look at a future where we're free from the current pandemic. As required by the Local Government Act and the Local Government Planning and Ordinary Regulations 2014, and following the best practice guidelines of the budget, the draft budget includes prescribed information, including statement of capital works, services and initiatives funded in the budget, charges and rating and borrowing details. Over 2020-2021, Council will develop and utilise its existing resources and the Community and Business Stimulus Recovery Fund to develop and deliver initiatives to see our community regrow out the other side of this pandemic. The allocation in 2020-2021 community and business support in the wake of coronavirus pandemic is $1.951 million. This figure is inclusive of an unallocated $450,000 community and business fund and the focusing of the existing resources to community and business stimulus and recovery efforts. The community and business support component of the budget for 2020-2021 includes the following resources of council focused on our recovery and stimulus efforts for the community. They are Community and Business Support and Stimulus Fund, $450,000. Small Infrastructure Fund, $891,000. Economic Development Unit, $545,000. Community Development Grants, $65,000. Council will review these efforts through the year and set a revised budget if required to best meet the needs of our local community and business, the best way to respond to the Council will roll out its recovery stages to determine where the areas of greatest need exist, filling gaps and leveraging on the efforts of all levels of government to maximise our recovery efforts for the community. The proposed budget will be open for public submissions until the 3rd of June 2020. Council proposes to adopt the budget on Monday 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Councillors, I have a recommendation now. Councillor to move that recommendation, please. Councillor Cassidy. Councillor, second that recommendation. Councillor Neo. Thank you, councillors. Any questions? Any points of clarification? Councillor Neo.
Thank you. Probably a question for the manager of finance. Just a point of clarification. We've been talking about asset renewal and we've come off a very high figure from last year and it has dropped. There's a simple explanation, but I think we were just conveying that to the community why the asset renewal has dropped off next year as opposed to a very high spend this year.
Sure, Councillor Neo.
So,
In the previous couple of years, we've had large funded projects such as the City Centre renewal, and that's inflated our asset renewal number over the last couple of years. In terms of the amount that we put to asset renewal, so our regular maintenance of our assets, we're actually increasing that, and we're increasing that through the rate capitalisation that we had last financial year. And we're increasing that by CPI again. So the regular amounts that we put towards asset renewal is increasing, but it's the funded projects which has dropped off, which has led to the increase.
Thanks, Mr. Harrington. Councillor Mayor, happy with that? Thank you. Any further questions from any councillor? Councillor Cassidy.
Thanks. So it's not the easiest budget to do with everything that is happening. The unknowing of the future and will there be a second wave from COVID-19? There are projects that will not go forward now because funding is being directed into other areas, especially into helping community and business get back on their feet. Some would like to see major projects stopped, like the Reed Oval, Library and Lake Coteau. Some would probably like us to stay with just rates, roads and rubbish at this time. But this does not help the economy. This does not help keep people in employment. We need these projects to get on time so that we can help stimulate the economy, so that we can get back on track as soon as possible. We must remember there will be an end to this uncertain time where we need to have the infrastructure built so that our community region can come play, spend and enjoy our city, and hopefully we can get back some of the losses we've had. Council, like any business, you must cut back and ride through it. I am concerned about the assets renewal. It seems that when complied, it comes from the money needed for our asset renewal. Our community have a high expectation of our parks, roads, playgrounds and drainage, so the properties do not provide. There is 11 million needed to be funded for the asset renewal, but there has only been allocated 8.7 million in this budget. That leaves us with a backlog of 20 million to date. This includes the already existing 17 million backlog. This could buy out to 40 million in the long term, which I feel is a problem. I do hope that the community take the time to read the budget and the council plan and put their suggestions forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Mayor.
thank you. I'd like to concur with Councillor Cassidy. I think most people know that I'm a strong advocate of asset renewal. This year will be an exceptional year in terms of the impact of COVID-19. I think we've taken a sensible approach. As Mr. Snyder said, there will be support from state and federal government. We need to look at the gaps and perhaps consult with community and businesses on what their needs are. We won't be simply handing out the money. We'll be looking at what's the best bang for the buck in terms of investment in the community and also in businesses that come to councillors. So we'll run an eye over that to make sure that the investment that we make is hitting the spot. So I'm hoping that council will have some sort of engagement with business and the community. And I know there's a business survey happening at the moment, which I think will provide really important intel and some type of information that we need to allocate funding.
Thank you, Councillor Leo. Any other, Councillor Anderson?
Thanks, Mayor. I'd just like to confer with Councillor Cassidy and Neo. And I think when you look at the budget, there's a lot of work gone into it, and I must congratulate the officers for the work that they've put into this. It's not an easy document to put forward. It takes a lot of time and head scratching, and I'd like to congratulate the officers on their presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Psychopoulos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, we all know that we're not adopting the budget tonight. This document will be going out to the public for public comment. We've really been thrown a curveball here, and I guess the entire world has been thrown a curveball with the COVID-19 issue that is upon us now. And we're all playing catch up. So it hasn't been easy. Certainly hasn't been easy. Well, it hasn't been easy from a councillor's point of view, but certainly hasn't been easy from an officer's point of view, who are ducking and weaving constantly, trying to balance the books, and it's certainly not going to be easy at all. I am certainly pleased to see in this budget the borrowing allocation for the roofing of the Warrnambool sale yards, which I think has been long overdue and probably should have been, well, obviously long overdue, should have been done quite some time ago, in my opinion. And I do encourage anyone who has some input to attend is it the virtual meeting again on the 15th of June, I think, is that correct? Yep. So anyone with some valid input in the budget, that'd be certainly, I would encourage them to participate in that virtual meeting. Thank you.
Councillor Gaston.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, as has been pointed out by other councillors, even on this evening, during this time, we must be innovative, nimble and resilient. And I just also want to point out that I'm very proud of councillors to forge ahead and make up the shortfall to invest in the sale yard roof as planned this year, finally. It is time to get this done for animal welfare, and also as an important show of confidence in our sale yards and agents. They're doing well, really well during this crisis, and I am sure they're positioning themselves and the sale yards very well for the future. So I think it's an investment that we hesitate to make during this time, but we're not allowed to get happy to endorse it.
Thank you, Councillor Gaston. Councillor Owen.
Yeah, I'd like to concur with everyone else. But I think the borrowing for the sale yard is really quite important. Projects are important during difficult times. Finally got to look at the Great Ocean Road and other jobs that have been done. But, you know, this budget has been worked over and scrutinised over and over again. I acknowledge the difficult task it has been for Peter Utri and his team to put it together, to find the savings from various funds and grants, etc. Considering the size of our budget compared to larger cities, which have a larger budget, places like Shepparton, for example, we've been able to find 1.9 million for business and community support. And I think that's quite a great effort, actually, considering. So, well done. I'm looking forward to seeing what people have to say about it. Hope they scrutinise it as much as our officers have and we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Yes, as Councillor Cassidy alluded to, it's not a normal budget. It's quite the opposite, really. We might have considered and even voted for this year a 4.5% rate increase for the rates, given how well many of the sectors in the city were tracking pre-pandemic. But the world environment has changed forever, and Warrnambool is not the exception. This year, Council suggested through this draft budget that an increase to the rates of CPI for the average person is about $29 a year or $7 a quarter. But when you add the reduction in the waste levy, the actual figure decreases. Instead of the 2% rate increase, it actually comes down to about a 1.2% increase, which is actually about $20 for the year. Council has had calls from some members of the community to halt the major projects and slash spending. Other levels of government are calling out for projects to be fast-tracked in order to stimulate growth and the economy and maintain those all-important jobs. Council has also decided to be more proactive and positive in continuing to progress these major projects, which will greatly benefit us on the other side of this pandemic. Along with this future-focused budget, Council has set aside about $1.9 million in stimulus for our community and business sector. This is a substantial figure and will be nimble enough to react when restrictions are lifted and the need for stimulus is required. Council will have a large reduction in income. If these restrictions were to last up to 6 months, it could be in excess of $5 million. And this has been tempered against a smaller than usual capital works program. This is not the final draft, And as we progress through these coming months, it may need to be adjusted again to respond to the needs of our community. I think it's achieved a balance in very turbulent and ever-changing times. Councillor Cassidy, would you like to close?
Fine, thank you.
Councillors, I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillors Psychopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Leo, Gaston, Owen, and Cassidy. Item 5.6, domestic wastewater management plan. Mr. Schneider.
Mr Mayor, in accordance with the Environment Protection Act 1970, each council in Victoria is required to produce a domestic wastewater management plan every 5 years, detailing how they will manage and mitigate impacts of unsorted developments in domestic wastewater systems. The plan provides detailed information on areas in Warrnambool which are unsorted and provides an action plan to mitigate the risks posed by on-site wastewater. The council is to complete the actions within the action plan. We need to review the required resources, requisite education programs, community awareness of landowner obligation in relation to domestic wastewater system. The purpose of the plan is to identify current responsibilities, practices, procedures, and obligations of domestic wastewater management, identify the public health and environmental risks associated with on-site domestic wastewater management systems, and to identify strategies to improve wastewater management. The plan will be made available 28-day public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Council's have a recommendation now. Would someone like to move that, please? Councillor Anderson. Would someone like to second that? Councillor Cassidy. Sorry. Thank you, everybody. Any questions, points of clarification? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mayor. This is a great read, this report. It's something you can't put down. You just keep turning the pages. And I went through it, and it's with some of the statistics that are shown in it. It's amazing. And I'll just read out what domestic wastewater is. Domestic wastewater is wastewater derived from household activities, including toilets, bathrooms, kitchens, and clothes washing, typically containing high levels of microorganisms, organic matter, and chemicals capable of causing illness and impacting on the environment. This material would ordinarily be deposited in the sewer. When failing on-site wastewater systems overflow during heavy rain or as a result of damage, failure, non-maintenance and surge loads, wastewater can leak from failed systems into the local waterways and the environment. There are approximately 998 on-site wastewater systems in use within the Warrnambool local government area. This includes a number of systems which are failing to deliver satisfactory performances and a number of systems without on-site wastewater system permits. This has led to a significant backlog of work for council to address these issues, and in consultation with individual landowners and the relevant state government agencies, we can fix this problem. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Cassidy.
Thank you. And I too, I learned a lot from this report. It was actually quite good to read. In an ideal world, we would hope that one day all the areas are hooked up to the main sewer lines. There are 998 on-site water systems and 196 non-permit systems that are over 25 years old, and when there was no policies. Sending this report out helps residents understand what is expected under the new licensing. I must make it clear, though, that this is not something we expect to be changed in the short term. We are just looking at it slowly, implementing the changes. We just want to hear your feedback. So I just want to make that really clear that it isn't something that homeowners are going to have to do straight away. There are associated costs to the owners in the future if they are not able to be connected to the main line, but there is an Environment Protection Amendment Act 2018 that has a new funding model and based on the new licensing schemes. A strategy put forward is to increase owners' knowledge and maintenance of their systems, and also to send reminder notices with rate notices that their systems need to be looked at or updated. But once again, I would like to say to residents that do have these systems that it isn't going to be a change straight away. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Cassidy. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Gaston.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with my fellow councillors. I'm really pleased Council is committed to moving this plan forward. It won't be easy and it will have budgetary implications as Councillor Cassidy outlined. However, we do have responsibilities for orderly planning and development within our local government area, which includes protection and promotion of public health and the environment, which I know we are all value highly. And we know old, leaking or overused septic systems negatively affect our public waterways and environment, and not dealing with these issues can also constrain economic development and growth of towns. The plan here is very good, I agree. It provides detailed information on areas in Warrnambool which are unsewered, and provides an action plan on how to mitigate the risks posed by on-site wastewater systems, as Councillor Anderson explained. So now is the time to be understanding the extent of our unsewered areas and to be prioritising which areas need addressing in the future, as there's currently quite a bit going on across the state to deal with this issue. It's not isolated here, it's a big problem virtually across the nation. But certainly the state's looking at how to deal with this issue in both practical and governance terms, which is important. One of the areas of policy reform which is happening in the state government IWM areas is where unsewered towns are a high priority, and the EPA is also actively working and encouraging out-of-the-box suggestions. So this is a great time for Warrnambool City Council to advance this issue further and tap into learnings of others and potential grants. So I fully support this motion going out for public comment and stakeholder feedback. There'll be some important stakeholders, such as on water, for example. It's a great time for us to advance this further in a measured way.
Thanks, Councillor Gaston. Councillor Psychopoulos.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I can't say I really agree with a couple of my fellow councillors who thought it was a great read. Wastewater systems weren't really doing it for me, but look, I was surprised though, particularly during our briefing, at the amount of houses that weren't connected to the main system. You may have touched on this in the last term, but yeah, I was still quite surprised, I must admit. And I think, as Councillor Cassidy said, and I will reiterate that I don't think this, this is going to take a long time to implement, and I don't think anyone's going to be forced in the short term. Is that right, Mr. Utri, to do anything? Yeah, no one's going to be forced in the short term to do it. Oh, sorry, Mr. Cavan, to do anything in the short term. So the financial burden should not be great, I would hope, certainly in the short term, but it is something that will have to be done. But the planning does have to start early, so here we are. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Psychopoulos. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Owen.
Very similar to Councillor Psychopoulos, I wasn't excited to read it as much as Councillor Anderson. Incredibly important. Not so long ago, we were draining off sewers and wastewater industry and everything into rivers and oceans. So this is a compliance that we're giving these people time and education to come up to speed. Some of them wouldn't have a clue, probably. I remember renting an old house at Winslow once, and I really only vaguely remember it bubbling out underneath a storm drain somewhere. So it took some time to sort that out. But look, good to see. It's all about, looking after our environment, not getting into our groundwater and so on. I think it's quite good. I'm very happy to see it rolled out. It's a great report, nevertheless. Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Anderson, would you like to close?
Thanks, Mayor. I think my fellow councillors have covered extra items in the report, and I'll close. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Councillors, I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillors Psychopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Neo, Owen and Cassidy. Thank you. Item 5.7, councillors. 5.7, councillors. Asset Management System 2020. Thanks, Mr. Schneider.
Mr Mayor, the existing asset management strategy was developed by Council in December 2014 and is now due for review. The strategy has been reviewed and revised in accordance with current best practice principles and provides a framework, guiding processes involved in managing council assets and clearly sets out the actions required to maturity of the asset management council. This strategy establishes guiding principles and provides a sound basis of decisions for management of council assets. Strategy is an important document which supports the asset management policy. The strategy provides the framework, the planning, the vision, management, and eventual disposal of adaptation of assets. Appendix A of the strategy outlines who's responsible for each asset management task over varying asset classes. Both the strategy and roles and responsibilities matrix have had input from the Asset Management Steering Committee. The draft strategy is now ready to be advertised for public comment before final adoption.
Thanks, Mr. Schneider. Councillors, do I have someone to move that recommendation? Councillor Neo. Councillor, second that. Councillor Gaston. Any questions from any councillor? Any points of clarification? Councillor Leo.
I'm really excited about asset management. It's a great report. I think it really highlights to councillors in the community that service levels are really important. The community always wants new. We're reluctant to dispose of assets, so it sets out how we actually manage our assets, make sure that the assets we're using are useful. Sometimes the service levels actually have to decline. If we have less use of a particular asset, we may have to lessen the service level and put the resources into an asset that's got greater value. The table on page 21 of the report, probably it's missing a few zeros, but it looks like our asset renewal gap is $63,000 to $60 million. I wish it was. So a good report, and I think it sets out a framework for us making really hard decisions.
Thanks, Councillor Leo. Let's check those zeros, Mr. Cadner, thank you. Councillor Gaston.
Thanks, Mayor. Well, as Councillor Neo pointed out, this gives us opportunity as an organisation to plan services and prioritise need and then maintain the assets that are actually needed. This is a service-driven approach and strategic in its delivery. So it allows us to move from simply maintaining assets to being this, looking at the service we need or want and making sure we have the assets to support them. I think a good example of this is planning for a larger immunisation area that Councillor Cassidy mentioned earlier. We know if we want to maintain future service levels, we'll need a large facility to accommodate our growing population and families who are moving to the region. We do have one of the highest vaccination rates in the state, and we do wish to maintain this safely. So by adopting strategic asset management, a large immunisation outlet gains higher priority in line with the service we are planning. That's just one small example how this strategy will help highlight and enhance our decision-making capabilities. So I'm really pleased to send this comprehensive strategy out for public comment. The public's got a lot to comment. Thanks.
I'll be busy. Thanks, Councillor Gaston. Any other councillor wish to make comment? Councillor.
Probably the one that I'd just like to add is the asset that we can't actually see, which is our drainage. Being quite expensive under the ground and not knowing what actually happens with our drainage until it actually goes bad. I think that's one that's like the asset management plan is very in need of, and it is documented in there because it is one of our most expensive assets, I feel, that we don't know about. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor President. Councillor Anderson?
Our assets, this includes buildings, our network of roads, footpaths, pits and pipes associated with stormwater drainage, playground equipment and other park furniture and other assets which have been built over progressively over the many years. So it does cover a wide variety.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Any other councillor? Councillor Mayor, would you like to close?
I think I'll retain further excitement to hear from the community.
Thanks, Councillor Mayor. I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Sarcopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Mayo, Owen and Cassidy voting in favour. Thank you. Item 5.8, Capital Projects Report, third quarter, 2019-2020. Mr. Schneider.
Mr Mayor, each year council undertakes a number of capital projects which help achieve its objectives as contained in this report provides a summary of the progress made on capital projects at the end of the third quarter of 2019-2020 financial year, that is 31st March 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic has proved disruptive to the delivery of some projects, but has also provided some pre-planning. Or shutdowns of some facilities has created an opportunity for works that would normally necessitate the closure of service to be bought.
Thanks, Mr. Schneider. Councillors, I have a recommendation now. Can I have somebody move that recommendation, please? Councillor Cassidy. Other councillor to second that? Councillor Anderson. Councillor Anderson. Any questions, any points of clarification? Thanks, Councillor Cassidy.
Thank you. Like we said earlier on, these are projects that we know a little bit about what's going on, but it's not until you actually get these reports that you can actually see how they are heading in what direction. Just a couple that I always like to name a few, which is the safer boating facilities still having moving forward. We're still waiting for funding, but let's hope before the end of our term that actually happens. Playgrounds renewal tenders have been awarded, so that's great because we do have up to 60 playgrounds that do need to be renewed over the next coming years. The lighting at Cannon Hill and CCT installation, which is very important for that area, especially with now everyone being active in our community. They're moving down that way. They're going down there and it is quite dark when there hasn't been lighting. And probably one to mention with the small infrastructure fund, the Jubilee Park Woodford toilet block was completed in March. I think that's great for our Woodford, the amount of people that are using the program out there with young people. I think that could be a bonus, and it has come from our small infrastructure fund, so that's great. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Anderson.
Yes, Councillor Cassidy's covered a few of the items. The other items that we look at is works completed at the Port of Waterford, replacement of timbers at the boat ramp are ongoing, breakwater handrail, breakwater pavement completed, and the stairway footing completed. Linkage paths at Worm Bay, footpath linked from the skate park to the foreshore promenade. Footpath renewal, and this was under the rate cap that we variation we went for. This is the Cannon Hill path, the Tobe Road path, Russell's Creek path, and the Wollaston Road path, all completed. The local roads rehabilitation and resheets completed, Mackenzie's Road, Fillmore's Road, Balmoral Road. Work scheduled is Tozer Road, Walsh Road, Wiggs Lane, which is a contribution, and the Wangoon Road shoulder widening. Also completed was Route 6 at Lake Plateau, and Councillor Cassidy mentioned the Jubilee Park out at Woodford, the toilet block completed, which is great for the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Any other councillor wish to comment? Councillor Owen.
Yes, I'd like to concur with our fellow councillors. I'd like to see this bus interchange and the taxi rank put to bed. It's been hanging on for some time. We're waiting on the state government, of course, but and funding, of course, but that would be a nice one to be over and done with, I would say. That would be yeah, it's been hanging on for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Councillor Owen. Any other councillor? Councillor Cassidy, would you like to close?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Councillors, I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillors Psychopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Neo, Owen and Cassidy all voted in favour. Thank you. Item 5.9, Stanley Street, Edwards Bridge Renewal. Mr. Schneider.
Mr Mayor, Edwards Bridge is an old timber bridge originally built circa 1895. Council recently engaged a bridge consultant to assess the condition of the bridge, provide advice on the applicability of the 20-tonne load limit, provide an option for renewal works of the bridge. The advice received is that the bridge is reached the end of its service life. The load limit should be reduced to 15 tonne, and some strengthening steel beams need to be installed as soon as practicable. Requests for quotations are currently being sought to install the strengthening beams at an estimated cost of $80,000. 5 renewal options are being investigated. The preliminary cost estimates ranging from $1.06 million to $2.69 million, following the full design process could be as high as $3 million. Applications close on the 29th of May. The council needs to approve an application which is successful. It requires a 50% funding contribution to the council, estimated to be up to $1.5 million. It is proposed that this co-contribution will be funded through the Roads and Bridge Renewal Program over 2 financial years, while also exploring other state funding opportunities to offset council's contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Council has a recommendation there. Councillor to move that, please. Councillor Leo. Someone to second that. Councillor Psychopoulos. Any questions? Any points of clarification? I have one, Mr. Cabinet. One question. If we were able to secure the funding for the safe launching and potentially the renewal of the breakwater, refurbishing the breakwater, would the load limit on this bridge cause that project issues?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this particular bridge is the over-dimensional or heavy vehicle access into the port. So vehicles can't use the road due to the heritage listed trees that exist down there. So yes, we can't improve the load limit on this bridge. It is a problem for the future of the port. Currently we operate through exemption, but that's becoming more difficult.
Thanks, Mr. Cabinet.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, this is strategically an important project. I'm sure we've got many bridges throughout our municipality that we need to attend to. But given the significance of it in terms of being able to carry loads, emergency services, we also have one-way in Viaduct Road. If there's ever an emergency on Toad Road, we also need an exit, secondary exit. In terms of the funding, I believe that we haven't decided on what option yet. And I'm sure there will be those advocates that want to keep the old bridge, a part of the old bridge, and there'll be others that say that best value is to replace it. I've got an open mind on it, but I think we need to pick our battles with the significance of bridges. We have a Wilson Bridge, which is very significant. Sometimes we have to make tough decisions on replacing to get a better product. So I'll keep an open mind and discuss it with my fellow councillors once we get the funding.
Thanks, Councillor Leo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I think there's no argument or denying that this bridge will have to be constructed in the future, and there are several options given to council at this point in time. I seem to recall around about 2010, this council made what I would call a regrettable decision to demolish the Dennington Railway Bridge, which was arguably one of Victoria's oldest examples of this type of unique bridge. I can't remember what style it was called, but whatever the case, it's now gone forever. I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that the Stanley Street Bridge is in the same vein or ilk, but I'd hate to think that we would dispose or decommission this bridge without too much thought. So I'd hope that that when this comes to council in the future, depending on what our options are and our funding is, I'd hope I'm probably one of those people that would like to see it saved. I don't know. I am also open-minded, but you know, I don't want to, I don't want to see Warrnambool continue with its wholesale destruction of many beautiful constructions. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Socrates. Any other councillor? Councillor Gaston?
Thanks, Mayor. I agree with Councillors Neo and Sakopoulos. I think we need to keep open minds, look at all of the options. I do think we will get significant community buy-in on this one and plenty of public comment. Look, it is the second oldest bridge in Warrnambool. It would be lovely to see the options we could have to keeping a heritage factor, or the attractiveness that is used by many visitors to our community in the summertime. And as community members, we often see, even now at the moment, there's 1 or 2 people constantly crossing that bridge and going down to the breakwater, which is important. So yes, it is a strategic bridge, and it will be interesting to see what options come forward. And clearly, it will be another major investment of up to $1.5 million if we get the other part of the funding. So some more exciting asset renewal.
Thank you, Councillor Gaston. Any other, excuse me, any other councillors to speak? Councillor Cassidy.
I agree with what my other fellow councillors have said. Like, I find it absolutely amazing that a bridge that's been built in 1895 is still in use. Like, it's 5 years younger than Wolston Bridge. So it has done us well, even though it has had a lot of work done to it. So there is that little bit of connection towards it. So I'd be very keen to look at all avenues before we just rushed in and bulldozed or whatever we were thinking of doing. I know it is hard with it being at a recommendation of 15 tonne to get over the bridge, especially as we've already said about the service of emergency services. And especially in summertime, like coming down Battone Road, it's, you know, there's not back-to-back with cars, you've got height restrictions, as Mr. Scott Kavanagh said, but I think it is one that we will have to spend a bit of time on. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the community getting back to us on this. They love trees, they love bridges, they love buildings. And particularly something this old. It's not as dynamic as Wollaston, but it still has significance. But it's costing us a lot of money to maintain it. It's done a very good job in 2 or 3 lines of what we do with it. It'll be a robust discussion, I imagine. But there's no doubt that we have to address it soon. It's so strategic. If we are to fix the breakwater, we'll need to have heavier loads go across that bridge, that's for sure. So, yeah, look forward to this one. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Allen. Councillor Anderson.
Yeah, I concur with what my fellow councillors have said. It's a real, it's an important decision we've got to make with the bridge, whether we keep it or not. Look, I'm either way, but it's an entry point for our Port of Warrnambool, a major entry point, and it's something that we must address sooner than later. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Mayor, would you like to close? Thank you, Councillor Mayor. Councillors, I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillors Sakopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Neo, Owen and Cassidy voting in favour. Thank you. Item 5.10. The cleaning contract extension. Mr. Shiner.
Mr Mayor, in May 2016, Council awarded a tender for the provision of cleaning of main council building. It was a 3-year contract with an option for a further 2 by 1 year extensions, an annual estimated cost of $277,600. Current contract provides the cleaning services, civic centre, regional library, art gallery, Archie Graham Centre, Aqua Zone, the Art Stadium, Flagstaff Hill, Children's Services Centre, Florence Collins Children's Services Complex, Lighthouse Theatre, Harbour Pavilion and Civic Centre West Wing. Contract value is now expected to exceed the delegated levels and the extension must therefore be considered by council.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Councillor, to move that recommendation, please. Councillor Cassidy. Councillor seconded, Councillor Gaston. Any questions from councillors? Any points of clarification? Councillor Cassidy.
There's not much to really say about this one, but it is important. Cleaning contracts are very important. I haven't heard any negatives over the last 12 months, 2 years, so I'm happy to extend for another 12 months.
Thanks, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Gaston, would you like to?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I agree. It is very important, and we certainly would hear if things weren't getting done. That's for sure. Look, I remember when this contract was first given out, and by all accounts, they have been doing a very good job. They employ locals who take a great deal of pride in keeping our city clean, so that's fantastic. So this contract provides good value and service, and I'm very happy to move forward with that extension.
Thanks, Councillor Gaston. Any other councillor wishes to speak? Councillor Cassidy?
No.
Thank you. Councillors, I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Psychopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Leo, Owen and Cassidy all voting in favour. Thank you. Councillors, item 5.11, the Principal Pedestrian Network Status Report and Consultation Plan. Thanks, Mr. Schneider.
Mr. Mayor, the Principal Pedestrian Network will assist council prioritise renewal, upgrades, new expenditure on footpaths, models pedestrian movements and identifies current and potential usage along routes to key destinations such as community centres, shops, schools, public transport and open space. Council has completed a draft report that outlines the findings of the modelling and the modelling routes. The gap in the network for footpaths, pedestrian improvement projects, safe crossings and other streetscapes are identified and listed in the report. The next stage in establishing the network is to engage with the community. This engagement aims to increase awareness of the principal network and the need to prioritise expenditure, refine the model to ensure community values are reflected and consult on the draft levels of service.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Council, another recommendation there. Have someone to move, please. Councillor Gaston. Someone to second that. Councillor Cassidy. Any questions, any points of clarification? Mr. Cameron, I might ask you another one, if that's okay, of you about this. Not necessarily wanting to bang on about the rate cap variation last year, but have you got any idea of how much extra footpath? I'm just thinking, given the extra use that they've been receiving at the moment from our community, which is fantastic, what sort of level of extra footpaths have we been able to achieve through the rate cap variation?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Mayor. The rate cap variation that was directed last year was about $490. What that has allowed us to do is to renew about 1,600 linear metres of footpath. Now, the widths do vary on that. But certainly, a number of those projects is today, like Tobe Road, Cannon Hill, Williston Road. There's been a whole range of projects done through that, and certainly the large work as well.
So we generally get through about 1,000 metres. You were saying about 1,000 metres a year. The rate caps allowed us to do 1,650.
Yeah,
extra.
That's correct. Our renewal or our new footpath is about $350,000 a year, and so we generally get somewhere in the order of about 1,000 metres of new footpath.
Thanks, Mr. Kepler. Any other questions, councillors? Councillor Gaston.
Thank you, Mayor. I think more and more pathways are part of our wonderful lifestyle for pedestrians and cyclists and skaters and scooterers and whatever it means, and dogs. So I'm again very excited about this item and that this network is being launched. No one likes dead ends, and new linkages and improvements to our existing pathways can make a huge difference to the number of people who are utilising our paths and also creating new habits to utilise them. And we use them to socialise too, from 1 or 2 people to hopefully soon small groups and larger organised groups. Not long ago, a few of us councillors joined the Senior Citizens Walking Group for a morning. And it was actually eye-opening. It was very well organised, had off to them. They have a couple of different walks each week, and they're structured so everyone can be involved, go at their own pace. And it highlighted to me the need for seats in certain areas, the importance of lighting and shade trees. Also that shelter areas can be strategically placed. There can be great meeting areas. We definitely had a very nice barbecue breakfast that morning, and we came back for a walk for a supper at the end. So the principal pedestrian network will seek to understand these factors, as well as the quickest way to reach destination, also how small linkages and features can make all the difference in extending walking areas. So I once again really encourage public comment from our community, but particularly areas also such as Allenton and Woodford. And you just need to go on the Your Say website and utilise the consultation tool called Crowdspot, which allows residents to state their comments by adding to points on the map. Audibility access is also very important for future decisions, so perceptions of safety, amenity and other drivers will be great to collate in this form. So it's been quite a few years getting to this point, and I think it's true that we're able to tap into a tool which has already worked well in other communities to further improve our pathways with participation from our active community. So very happy to see this going.
Councillor Cassidy.
Yep, agree with what Councillor Gaston has to say. Reports and consultations are always good to have in place so that we are shovel ready for projects that may be funded by other means, which will probably be a lot hopefully in the future. Using Your Say Waterable in these times makes sense. It is also good for us councillors to be involved. There may be some projects that we could fund through our small infrastructure fund. Also, including lighting, seating and shade trees in the report is important, especially when we're seeing residents more active, as Councillor Gaston said. It is mentioned that Council acknowledges in the past that community consultation has not been done well, and they're trying hard to make the document community owned. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Anderson.
Yes, Mayor, it's really good to see the work that's being done, and I know down at Russell's Creek they've replaced a lot of the older paths with new paths, and it's I think the people down that way, there seems to be more people walking on it, and appreciate what we've done. As other previous councillors have said, lighting, shade and seating is a big priority, and the other one is obviously some of these paths have got to be a bit wider, because for all abilities now, with people moving around, it's something that we've got to look at. But it's going to be interesting to hear the comments from the community, because I think they'll be all positive. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Any other councillors wish to speak? Councillor Allen.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the comments from community. I'm happy to see that Peter's officers on the bicycle users reference group. We'll get a lot of feedback from them, no doubt. I was on it for one time. Yeah, but they were waiting for you, basically. So yes, this will be an interesting. We're so lucky to have so many paths as it is, with lots of linkages everywhere. So tough.
Thanks, Councillor Allen.
Low battery. Doesn't matter. They know what I look like.
Councillor Psychopoulos.
No problem. So we'll just wait to see how cable's going here or not. You can go to technical issue.
Thanks, brother.
Continue on.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. I won't talk necessarily about the document itself, but I do want to pick up on what some of my fellow councillors have said. Again, this is another document that is going out for community consultation. So that's the theme of tonight, obviously, community consultation and engagement. We know we haven't done it well in the past on occasion. And we know there are many opinions in town about footpaths, bicycle paths, pedestrian priority at certain intersections, for example. And we need to proceed carefully, I think, with this document and just ensure that, that the wishes of the greater community are heard and addressed. And I guess I'm talking predominantly about CBD movements. But again, those people who have concerns should make the time and effort to participate in the community consultation, and certainly we and you know, as long as we adhere or take notice of that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Psychopoulos. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor, put the motion. Those in favour? Oh, Councillor Gaston. Sorry, I should have let you again.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out that this is comprehensive. When people do go on, they will see that there's numerous maps which make it easier to identify where people may want certain things to be. So there's maps which each identify key destinations. So there's access to bus stops, retail areas, community facilities, health facilities, childcare facilities, kindergartens and schools, to tertiary education and to open spaces, and that's not all of it. So you can go on each map and identify areas. So it's going to be quite live and quite interesting. So I encourage people to have a great look.
Councillor Gaston, would you just highlight the community to the website again, if you wouldn't mind, in closing?
Yes, it's the go to Your Say Warrnambool, and from there you go to a consultation tool called CrowdSpot. Which I believe is easy to do.
Okay.
Another day.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Gaston. Councillors, I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillors Psychopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Neo, Owen and Cassidy, all voting in favour. Thank you. Item 5.12, Advisory Committee Reports. Mr. Steiner.
Mr. Mayor, this report contains the record of one advisory meeting being the Economic Development Advisory Committee held on the 10th of March 2020.
Thanks, Mr. Steiner. Councillors, I have a recommendation there. Have someone to move that. Councillor Anderson. Someone to second that. Councillor Owen. Councillors, any questions? Any points of clarification? Mr. Payne, if I may ask you a couple of questions, or one question at least. Are you able to just update us on the TEDx as a result of what's happened as a result of the pandemic over the last couple of months?
Yes, like many events that have been cancelled, the TEDx event is being viewed as a deferral, not a cancellation. So when we have some visibility of when the event can be turned back on again, we'll be seeking to schedule a date sooner rather than later.
Councillor, someone to move that recommendation, please. Councillor Owen. Someone to second that?
Yeah, we've already had that. Move Councillor Anderson, second Councillor.
That's it, yes. Councillor Anderson, would you like to open with anything?
I'd like to close. Thank you.
Councillor Owen?
I'd like to close too. Thank you.
I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Psychopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Neo, Owen and Cassidy. Thank you. Voting in favour. Item 5.13, the Assembly of Councillor reports. Mr. Schneider.
Mr Mayor, the purpose of this report is to provide a record of any Assembly of Councillors which has been held since the last council meeting, so that it can be recorded in the minutes of the former council meeting. It covers the period from the 21st of February to the 27th of April.
Covers the period from the 21st of February.
Schneider. Councillors have a recommendation there. Councillor Neo. Councillor Neo. Councillor second that. Councillor Sarkopoulos. Any questions? Any points of clarification? Councillor Neo. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Sarkopoulos.
No.
Councillors, I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Sarkopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Neo, Owen and Cassidy voting in favour. Councillors, item 5.14. Mayoral Chief Executive Officer, Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Council Activities Summary Report. Mr. Schneider.
Mr Mayor, this report summarises Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Council activities since the last ordinary meeting, which particularly relate to key social, economic and environmental issues of direct relevance to the vulnerable community. It covers the period 28th of February through to 25th of April 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Councillors, have someone to move that recommendation? Councillor Anderson? Someone to second that? Councillor Owen? Any questions? Any points of clarification? Councillor Anderson?
No, thank you.
Councillor Owen?
No, that's fine. Thanks.
Thanks, councillors. I put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillors Sarkopoulos, Gaston, Anderson, Herbert, Neo, Owen and Cassidy voting in favour. Thank you, councillors. Item number 6, public question time. Mr. Schneider.
Mr Mayor, we have a number of questions that have come in throughout the day. First question is from Mr Brian Kelson. The Warrnambool City Council appears to not have a hardship policy. The Local Government Act has provisions to waive the charge rate members of the community facing severe financial hardship. I understand that each application put to the Warrnambool City Council is assessed on a case-by-case basis. And called numerous times to request from the Finance Department what criteria way, but to date they have been able to obtain such information. Can you please explain exactly what the Finance Department is looking for in order to grant a waiver of operating charges? Why is information available regarding rates deferral on the Warrnambool City Council website, but there is no information on waiving the rates? Mr Mayor, whilst Council has the capacity to waive rates under the Local Government Act, I'm not aware that it has ever done so. It does not promote this as an option, as it's not one that is readily employed on the basis that the taxation debt accrued should from an equity basis be paid now or in the future to other property owners. Council works through hardship arrangements with individuals to see that the taxation owed is paid within their capacity or full as a debt against any future sale of the property. This is a standard revenue practice across the state. Council has the ability to charge penalty interest, but in most instances where a referral arrangement is in place, this aspect of the legislation is waived. The second question, Mr Mayor, is 2 months ago, following a chance meeting with the company that is handling the new parking strategy, my question to you then was why is the library precinct part of the survey? As the Mayor informed me that you personally were looking into this and get back to me, yet I have received no correspondence from you. Warrnambool City Council estimates 500,000 people visit the facility annually. Working this out as you go should not. Mr Mayor, the new library project is the size and nature that it should provide traffic and parking impact assessment as part of the development. Whilst the parking strategy considers more generally development and use changes, does not have a specific detail related to this development. such as orientation and access, as the design process is still underway. Next question is from Mr. Ben Lane and Warrnambool City Council. Please outline what research they have done on what Warrnambool businesses and residents expect of the council during the COVID pandemic. How many businesses and or residents have been contacted and through what methods? What is the general feeling amongst these groups, and will the staff be made available to the public? Mr. Mayor, since the state of emergency declared in Victoria on the 16th of March 2020 to manage COVID-19, Warrnambool City Council has been focused on supporting our residents, community groups and businesses with every can to assist with resilience and recovery. Local government's primary role in response to COVID-19 is to continue to work with the state and Commonwealth governments to support preparedness, implement response measures, as well as the communication of messages to our community. While COVID-19 has impacted a number of services council provides, many services remain unchanged, including the normal channels of communicating with council should residents and or businesses wish to make contact. For example, customer service requests, phone or email, an online chat service, or postal mail are all normal channels which remain open for council to be contacted by residents or businesses should they wish to do so. Warrnambool has some 2,700 registered businesses in our municipality, so it's not realistic to engage one-on-one with every business in our city over a short period. What is practical is regular surveying of businesses throughout the year and into 2021 to better understand the impacts of COVID-19 on their operations and what businesses are doing differently to manage the impacts. The first of these surveys occurred in April, which was open to Warrnambool businesses and regional initiative in partnership with Champions of the Bush Group. Its findings have been finalised and made available to the public shortly. These findings will also assist advocacy efforts for future state and federal government support. Findings of these surveys are also complemented by direct engagement in the economic branch with businesses, whether by phone or email. A weekly email circular is also distributed to businesses, which has around 900 businesses currently registered and growing. Our economic development team is also available to be contacted by businesses direct, by phone or email, should they wish to do so. Our dedicated business support website page for COVID-19 has also received over 5,000 visits since its creation in late March. Our committed council staff are continuing to provide critical services, many focused on community health and safety, emergency relief, business support, and protecting the vulnerable in our community. In challenging times like now, the community demand and expectations on local government increases rather than decreases. Council understands this, and the Stage 1 response plan has been developed to support individuals, families, businesses, and community groups, and this support is available now. This Stage 1 response builds on the various assistance packages announced by the Commonwealth and Victoria governments. Future stages of support will be announced for the remainder of the year, and this is reflected in the COVID-19 support package allocated in the 2021 draft budget, which will support our communities and business get back on their feet. Next question is from Christine Thompson. My question is, what is the cost of the ratepayers of the current TV advertising campaign to get around Warrnambool? What demographic are you attempting to reach with this advertising? Did the traders have the opportunity to have input into this advertising campaign? Mr. Mayor, the Get Around Warrnambool campaign is designed to provide our residents, communities and businesses with creative ways to continue to engage with each other, to support local businesses and to maintain flows of community support, passion during this difficult time. The long-term campaign will use a range of mediums across social media, radio, print, television and street and roundabout banners. The campaign provides branding posters and social media collateral available for use by all demographics, residents, community groups and businesses to communicate positively in how we are responding to COVID-19. One early example was the use of Get Around Warrnambool tag to promote Lounge Fest, an online music event that attracted many thousands of views. The Get Around Warrnambool tag is uniform branding picked up and used by any resident or community group or business. Another early component is a 15-second TV ad currently airing, which encourages group hug with the city and encourages our community to support each other and giving support to spend local. It's a community campaign. The TV ad was produced in-house and in response to an opportunity on heavily discounted terms. The recovery from COVID-19 will be a long one for many, and there will be ample opportunity for all interested stakeholders, whether they be residents, community groups and businesses, to support the Get Around Warrnambool campaign over the remainder of the year and into 2021. The next question is from Mr. Willie Benter. Current parking strategy, has it been completed and when will it be released for consultation? An initial draft of the document, Mr. Mayor, is being worked on through to ensure it meets the project requirements. We believe it's appropriate to leave the next consultative phase until the impacts of COVID-19 on traders have reduced. The next question, also from Mr. Willie Benter. Due to the economic downturn, COVID-19, will the council consider forming a retailer reference group similar to the cycling group? The council has a better understanding of the Warrnambool retailers' concerns and work together to restart the city again when restrictions are lifted. This can be an item to be raised with the council at a future briefing. The council has a number of advisory committees comprising community and industry representatives. Particularly relevant to the business and industry sectors of the city are the Economic Development Advisory Committee and the Visitor Economy Advisory Committee. The status of existing peak bodies established across the city, the capacity and capabilities established across the city, capacity and capability. It's important to recognise that the impacts of COVID-19 are having an adverse range of industry sectors. There are some sectors feeling adverse impacts of COVID-19. This will need to be COVID-19. This will need to be reflected in a broader response to 19. Next question is from Nina Lang. Why have pet registration fees gone up from $35 last year to $70 this year? Why is this council the most expensive pet rego in the region of Victoria? Is council still blaming the RSPCA for the fee hikes? Why can't council have an animal welfare pound like Geelong and Ballarat? Mr. Mayor, our sterilised dog fee has remained unchanged in 2020 at $70. Our sterilised cat fees have increased from $59 to $70, $11 increase. Cats have increased due to the increased number of the pound over the last 5 years, moving from 285 in 2014-15 to 445 last year. During the same period, dog impounds have remained stable. Council's fees are not dissimilar to some other municipalities and have a high rehoming rate, low euthanasia rates, and dishumane treatment approach under the cost. We ran an extensive program encouraging pet owners to ensure that their pet registration details were correct, ensure the charges were levied based on dog fees and charges. And Mr. Mayor, the last two questions from the first one is, at an ordinary meeting of council in December last year, in answer to an ordinary meeting of council in December last year, the auditor had engaged in council's protocols, and that a preliminary report had been received by council and that it would be checked by council officers. Has a final report been received by council? What recommendations did it make? Have any recommendations been acted on, and will all of this information be made public? Mr. Mayor, both internal and external audit opinions final reports have been received in relation to a review of council's protocols and have been presented to council's audit and risk committee with many recommendations already acted upon, and the residual actions are currently being worked through. All items raised at the audit and risk committee are done so confidentially, and any item that council would like to see released would require council resolve to do so at a future council meeting of the whole meeting. The second question is, at the ordinary meeting of council in December last year, foreshadowing the commencement of the new Local Government Act, the council resolved to give consideration to the reiteration of the general introduction of general business ordinary meetings of council. Given that the relevant part of this new legislation commences from the 1st of July this year, has the matter been progressed? What is the status today?
Has the matter been?
Mr Mayor, Council is required to have its new governance rules in place by September 1st, 2020. Council will need to revoke its current local law number 1 governance meeting procedures local law and undertake a public consultation process in relation to the establishment of its new governance rules as required by the 2020 Act. Council further to its resolution will consider general business as a part of these governance rules, along with guidance and advice from local government Victoria as to the best practice governance rules. The community will be invited to make comment and submissions on the draft governance rule once they have been formulated. That's all the questions, Mr Mayor.
Mr. Stein, just before we finish there, there was a question there about a Chamber of Commerce, a business representative group. Mr. Benter?
Yes.
Mr. Willie Benter. I'd be happy to receive a phone call from him and as one of the past presidents of the Chamber of Commerce. I'd be more than happy to chat with him about some of the challenges that we experienced in the last attempt to the Chamber of Commerce, if not what we call.
Mr Mayor.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our community for those that remained listening to our meeting tonight. Thank you, councillors, for being accommodating in these trying times, and also to the staff and to the directors, and also Mr. Schneider. Thank you all, and I declare the meeting closed at 7:35. Thanks, everyone.